The two-lane road wound endlessly through the woods, its blacktop swallowed by the encroaching darkness of night. Julia's knuckles turned white as she gripped the steering wheel. Her GPS had cut out miles ago, leaving her only the dim glow of her headlights and the sound of leaves rustling in the wind for company. She had been on the road since noon, determined to make it to her sister's cabin before midnight. But now, the desolation of the road and the thick, suffocating woods had begun to wear on her nerves. Every now and then, her headlights caught glimpses of gnarled branches, looking disturbingly like skeletal fingers clawing at the sky. Her phone buzzed in the cup holder. Relief washed over her as she picked it up. "Signal restored," the screen announced. But the relief turned to dread when she saw the message on her GPS app. "Turn back immediately." Her stomach sank. What? She was sure she was close to the cabin. Her sister had said to stay on this road for at least another 15 miles. The message repeated on the screen, this time with an additional warning. Unsafe route ahead. Turn back. Julia hesitated but kept driving. Her sister would have mentioned if the road was dangerous. Maybe it was just a glitch. As she dismissed the message, her headlights caught something in the distance. A figure standing motionless in the middle of the road. She slammed the brakes. Her tires screeched, and the car skidded to a halt mere feet from the figure. It was a man, dressed in a tattered coat, his face obscured by the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat. He didn't move. Heart pounding, Julia rolled down her window slightly. "Hey, are you okay?" The man tilted his head like a puppet on broken strings. His voice, when it came, was dry and raspy, like leaves crumbling underfoot. "You shouldn't be here." Julia's breath caught. Before she could respond, the man stepped aside and melted into the trees, disappearing without a sound. Shaking, she rolled up the window and locked the doors. Her gut screamed at her to turn back, but she couldn't explain why. Taking a deep breath, she pressed on. She just needed to reach the cabin. Another mile passed, then another. The woods seemed to close in tighter, the air growing heavier. Her radio, which had been faintly playing static, cut out entirely. Then she saw it, a sign on the side of the road, weathered and splintered. Last turn, no return. Her heart thudded painfully against her rib cage. The road ahead veered sharply, disappearing into the darkness. She slowed the car, her pulse hammering in her ears. As she made the turn, the headlights illuminated something that made her blood run cold. Dozens of figures lining the sides of the road. They were all like the man she had seen earlier, motionless, shrouded in darkness, their faces hidden. Julia's breathing quickened as she pressed harder on the gas, the car lurching forward. The figures didn't move, but she swore she felt their eyes on her, following her every move. Suddenly, her headlights flickered and died. She slammed on the brakes, plunging into pitch blackness. The engine sputtered and went silent. "No, no, no," she whispered, fumbling with the ignition. The car wouldn't start. The air grew colder, and the silence was deafening. Then a soft tapping sound. It came from the passenger side window. Her head whipped around, and her scream caught in her throat. The man in the wide-brimmed hat was there, peering in. His face, now fully visible, was pale and sunken, his eyes like twin voids. He grinned, revealing a mouthful of jagged, blackened teeth. "You didn't listen," he said softly. The last thing Julia saw was the figure reaching through the glass, not breaking it, but melting through it, like smoke. Her scream echoed into the night, swallowed by the forest. The next morning, her car was found abandoned on the side of the road. Julia was never seen again. The end.